Let's go back into this Liverpool Real Madrid game, and if you're half time, okay, it's 2-2, and if you're Liverpool, you're disappointed because you were 2-0 up. At 2-1 after the Vinicius goal, there's that Henderson, Salah, maybe a chance for 3-1.
Yeah.
But it's 2-2. It could have been better. You could have gone back at 2-1 or 2-0 up maybe, but it's still not the end of the world, right? If you're a Liverpool player, you go back to the dressing room. What kind of mindset do you think you're in? What kind of message do you expect from Klopp?
I think at 2-2, he won't make a big deal of the Alisson mistake because Alisson wouldn't have made a big deal of it himself. Like, he knows that he's made it, so you can't really pile on that one too much. But I think Vinicius scored. I think he also had another shot which Alisson had to save. Yeah,
same one. Very
similar to that. But again, they started so well. They put Madrid very much on the back foot. It didn't necessarily make Madrid too uncomfortable, but you could see that there's something there should they try and be more aggressive.
Yeah.
So I think at 2-2, you're a bit disappointed, but you're focused to go and try and do it again. Start the second half the way you started the first.
So same intensity that the first 15 minutes.
He'd demand the same, if not more. Go out and start strong. Go and get in their faces again. Get the crowd on board, because that's the whole point of playing at home. If you give the crowd something to get behind, then it makes it a harder occasion for the opposition. So that's the mentality. Let's go and do it right, 100%, max effort. 5 minutes later, what was it? 3-2 to Real.
But how can you consider a goal like this straight after the break?
My God.
Because for the listeners who don't know, before the game on the big boards, you will have all the set pieces set up. So zonal marking, so and so plays. I guess they're ready for it, right?
Yeah, that's what 100%.
You know who you're marking before the free kick. By the way, Gomez, please don't give away stupid free kicks like that.
Yeah, it's a bad free kick to concede that early. And the thing is, he thought he won it as well, but again, Vinicius did very well. But that wide free kick, there's always a point with corners and wide free kicks where you go from a zone to man marking, but it's about deciding where that point is.
Okay.
So they decided they were going to continue with zonal marking, but it doesn't suit that moment, because from where Modric can see, he can see like 7 Liverpool players just in a line.
On the line,
Just in a line. So most of those guys are pointless. But the person who's not pointless is the one who's got Militao, who I think was Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah.
And in that moment...
And again, why? Why would you ask him to mark?
Because that's what he would have been doing if it was a corner as a zone, so it's less dangerous. But now the thought of danger should be higher because it's closer.
Yeah.
But this is one thing which we're going to talk about here, which is about leadership and sensing how dangerous a moment is.
Definitely.
Because it's all well and good to say, right, everybody get in your positions. But now the human instinct needs to kick in and try and figure out what's going to happen next. You know, it's not just like if the manager says we're going to line up as a 4 and a 3 and so on and so forth. Like formations, they're great on paper till you play the game and there's opposition there, so you have to move.
Yeah.
Like figure it out. Like how many people are in the box? Oh, it's 3 people in the box. Who's got them? So it's Trent, this guy, that guy.
Yeah, where's the danger?
Where can the ball go? Can he score against Alisson on this near side? Probably not. So can we get our line a bit higher? Can somebody just step out the zone and go and mark someone? Can we go and fill the areas that really matter?
But I'm amazed a team like Liverpool, someone like Van Dijk doesn't even think like that. So what? They had their brain freeze and they...
Complete brain freeze, a lot of them, because it only takes one person to acknowledge danger to be able to change the impact of any particular moment. It would take one person standing higher. But then instead, a free header. The free header, 6 yards out.
That's ridiculous.
That's with so many bodies around. But that's what Liverpool were, thought, after they conceded the first 2 goals. They were passive. There were bodies around, but they weren't doing anything. And I think as they look back at that goal, it's a horror show, because they will all know themselves, those players, that if the man wasn't yours, you could tell someone to deal with it. And if he could be yours, like Alexander-Arnold could have run with him.
Yeah.
Van Dijk could have stepped forward. Other centre-backs could have stepped forward. Someone could have blocked the line so that Modric had nowhere to play it to. Like, make Modric's delivery into the box more predictable and less dangerous by blocking the areas which he could play it into. So then instead, Modric puts a ball into the box which shouldn't be a good ball.
Yeah.
That should be cleared by 1, 2, 3 Liverpool players. But then instead, as I say, it's almost like they're relying upon instruction at this moment in time instead of using their instincts. So they're all in the right...
Because they've lost confidence, you think? Or because
possibly.
Because they must have had that instinct before. You haven't... They've been such a great team.
Yeah, but just... It's weird because they're historically, or the last few years, they don't concede that many goals. So to concede 5 at home and some of the goals in the way that they did.
Yeah.
Like, you should never... If it's literally 7 versus 3 in the box, there's crazy. No way a goal should be scored.
Yeah.
But some of those players may think, well, I was standing in the right spot, so I did nothing wrong. but in totality, they all did something wrong because somebody was allowed to be free and score in there.
I mean, what I think certainly to me what felt very obvious is the lack of leadership, and in that sense, I'm very disappointed with the Henderson, with the Van Dijk, with maybe Alisson to some extent, Robbo maybe. Even Klopp looked to me completely far too quiet on the touchline after the third goal. When it's 3-2 down, you could have scored a third one, 3-3. There's no away goals anymore. You basically go to Madrid 0-0, and anything is possible then. And yet I didn't see any reaction. I didn't see anybody shouting. I didn't see anything, and I don't know. And it felt that the stadium just
it did. The stadium did well. I think after the fourth one was when it got really quiet.
All right.
Before that, in fairness, they'd been singing, and then come the end, they were singing. They clapped the fans, they clapped the players off, but they also clapped the Real Madrid players off. You know what I mean? They were clapping for Benzema and Modric because they understood what they just did to their team. But I think for Klopp, he's in an interesting situation because he can prepare his team for a game, but as he watches them out on the field, he's now relying on them to actually just do the job itself. And picture this: you've worked on set pieces all week or whatever, and then you see that goal go in to make it 3-2.
It's deflating,
Yeah, and you're looking like, in that moment, what more could he have done? He's literally set them up to give them the chance to now be creative. But then the stuff after that, in terms of trying to G up the players and so on, I think they were trying to do it. But again, this is the thing about confidence within football. The moment there's even the slightest doubt in your mind, the easiest thing to do is to take a step back. But when you take a step back, all of a sudden, Camavinga, Modric, Valverde, they move the ball how they want. True. Benzema moves it how he wants.
This is the wrong team to play against when the scenario is like that.
If there's any doubt in your mind against a team like this, then this is what happens. And if they went toe to toe with them and they were feeling confident, it could have been a better game. Maybe Madrid would have still won. But all of a sudden, you're seeing those little triangles. Then Ceballos comes on, little triangles here, little triangles there. They're moving it this way, moving it that way. Benzema's come in, and all the while, you know that if you decide to overcommit and go for it, Vinicius Jr. hasn't come back. He's waiting on the halfway line. And if he's up there, that means Benzema's around. And then you get moments like you did for the fifth goal.
It's crazy. And I think, and we said it last year, I remember, because they did it last season against City and against Chelsea and against PSG and all of that. They just smell blood, I think. And they know exactly. And that's why this team amazes me, because this is not the greatest team in European football history. No. It's not.
No.
But they still have something special that I don't think we've ever seen with anybody else before. That sort of calmness, never kind of panicking mode, and the ability of just punishing every little mistake that you would make, and having a bit of luck, because the fourth goal is, I don't think Karim's shot is even on target. And then Gomez, who's had a shocker. And sorry, Joe, the other day I said you were a bad player, and I stand by it. And so that that goes for Real Madrid when it really should not have been a goal.
Yeah, that's good fortune, but you still need to be able to take the shot for it to happen.
Yeah, and for sure. And the movement before, as you said,
and he took an uncontested. Yeah, so they did I think it was a 1-2 around Fabinho.
Yeah,
and then Benzema's having a free shot inside the 18-yard box. Like, these are things that should never happen. So the luck has gone against Liverpool, but they could have maybe had better luck if they were more aggressive with how they tried to defend it.
100%. Do you think physically they just could not do more than what they did Liverpool in terms of the intensity, what they want? I still think that Cody Gakpo doesn't know how to press. I think that he's willing to do, and I think he's got that energy, and he said, I'm happy, just tell me, you want me to go and run, and I can run. But running and pressing are two very different things. And at times he looked like he was going to go and put pressure, but he never looked behind to see where the angle of the pass would be. So too often he would go and sprint towards Militao, who just had an easy ball to put to Camavinga, because he didn't do it right.
But at that point, though, you'd hope, like, pressing is key when you've got information behind you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if he's going and he's leaving something open, the person behind him should tell him not to go. You know what I mean? There's that sense of, it's little bits of the chain there in terms of communication that can make a big difference. And when they go and press, because it's Real Madrid again, there's just this fear when Vinicius Jr. is standing on the halfway line. Is Trent Alexander-Arnold going to go and support a Salah press behind him? Or is he going to be thinking, well, if this goes over my head, then we're finished? And that's something that Madrid have and certain other teams have, where no matter how aggressive you want to be, there's always an element of risk.
Definitely.
And when things aren't going your way, you then decide to go against that risk and say, well, we'll be more conservative. But then that allows other players to then start controlling the midfield. You know what I mean?
Because when you have both the threat of Vini and Benzema, I guess, on the counter, and Modric, who is press resistant, so you can press him, but he won't lose the ball.
It's irrelevant,
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.